What is this trade? What are the aspects that our trade involves? Which are the commodities particularly that we're trading?
So if you look at India's trade partners, the EU is quite important, and within the EU, Germany is the top country. And if you look at what Germany produces, that makes total sense, because India has got this fast economic growth, and Germany produces the machines, the electrical equipment that it exports to India to spur that growth even further. Vice versa, Indian exports to Germany are about 3% of all exports of India, and a big chunk of it is textiles, which of course Germany doesn't produce in large quantities. So you can really see how both countries profit from this, how one produces the goods that the other needs.
Finally, then, what does the future hold for trade between the two countries? There has, of course, been increased dialogue, deliberation, between our top leadership, be it Prime Minister Modi, Chancellor Angela Merkel. What does the future hold, particularly for trade between our two nations, Malte?
Well, if you look at the economic growth in India, if you look at this huge market with more than 1 billion people, and also the spending power that the new budget that was announced today also gives to these people, I can only see that German companies will want to trade more, will want to invest more in India. Maybe there might even be a free trade agreement on the horizon. There has been talk in the past. So far, it hasn't really yielded to anything. The talks have somehow ended up in nothing. But maybe in times when, which is a big trading partner for India as well as for Germany, it has become somewhat unpredictable when it comes to trade. It's time to find alternative trading partners, to boost alternative partners. Just like today, the EU and Japan have opened a massive free trade agreement, and I don't see why that shouldn't be on the horizon for the EU and India as well.
So positive outlook there for trade between our two nations, positive outlook there for our economy from Germany, and positive outlook towards the interim budget that was presented there. Thank you, Malte from DW, Germany, for joining us with that perspective there. Let me quickly go back to Mr. Bhasin for a quick final comment from him. Mr. Bhasin, specifically now on the middle class and rural economy. Do you believe the middle class and rural economy should be pleased? I know they're two separate issues, so you can address both of them individually with the interim budget presented today.
I'm sure the middle class is pleased because it's got a tax break. I'm not sure the middle class needed the tax break at this point in time, given a fiscal deficit situation. Well, let me put it this way. I'm sure the middle class would love to have the tax break. But can we afford the tax break? I don't know. I don't know, given our fiscal deficit and where it is, that we can afford it. The rural economy, farmers providing that kind of support and that kind of income, personally, I think we need to help them a lot more than they've got. The entire PDS system, the pricing, have caused enormous distress over the last 2 years. The more we can give them direct benefits, I think the better off we will be. Having said that, I wish giving direct benefits on one side would be offset by perhaps reducing subsidies of some other kind on the other side, just to balance it out, so that if you are going to give 3,000 rupees or whatever the number is that you're going to give to every farmer, I wish there was another way to offset that. Equally, though, I would have thought there would be a case for encouraging industry. And what I haven't seen is a lot of encouragement for entrepreneurs, industries, startups, investments, all of the things that really make the economy really robust. You won't get there by giving subsidies of people. You might help the economy improve for the longer term if you really focus in on what could industry do to allow it to make more investments. What should industry want? What should we fix? What red tape should we eliminate? What should we do to make it easier? All of those things have to fall into place.
Okay.
It's very good to look at ease of doing business ranking across the world, but at the ground level, let me assure you, if investment is happening, we need to investigate very, very thoroughly exactly why, and I think you will find that people are nervous about investment still, because they're not sure that the recovery and the red tapeism and many of the labor laws that are required to create more employment aren't being solved for today.
All right. Pramod Bhasin, founder of Genpact, appreciate you joining us with your perspective on this big story. Thank you for taking time out and speaking with NewsX. Before I go back To Mr. Batra and bring in Dinesh Vashni as well. I'm being told more viewers are joining us. Let's quickly get in a couple of viewers. Ganesh calling in from Chennai. Ganesh, go ahead.
Yeah. So, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a absolutely middle class budget. It's a tax relief for middle class because we can save money up to 12,500 rupees, which will be a negative income for us. It's and also other things also when not only tax tax class, other things also they had pointed out for the 3,000 rupees per month for unorganized sector also it's very good. They are looking into all types of people over there and absolutely almost for the past 15 years this will be the best budget, I think so.
Okay, so it's the best budget according to you and a please all budget. You are very pleased is what you're saying. Thank you, Ganesh, joining us here from Chennai. SS Rawat now calling in from Bangalore. Go ahead, SS Rawat.
The budget appears to be good for the salaried people, the farmers and the business people. But it looks as if we have the senior citizens have been stabbed at the back. Not an savings and then I have to pay tax, costs have gone up. What is this budget for? The senior citizens are to do the budgetable feel that we are not required in this work? It's a very sad thing. I'm upset.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Rawat, joining us here from Bangalore. Before I get in Dinesh Vashni, yes, Anurag Batra, you had a quick point.
Pramod alluded to that. I was going to end by saying that the revenue projections from the government seem very, very bullish, very optimistic. And if the tax collections are not to the numbers projected, the fiscal deficit will grow. So in that sense, and Pramod made the, do we have the money? So that's yet to be seen. One of the Rahul Gandhi's Congress Party's criticism of the current government has been jobs. And the finance minister, by pointing out that more contributions entered the employee provident fund space, showed that in the unorganized sector the jobs have grown. So let's be very clear. This is an election time. Right now, industry matters because industry creates jobs, but right now what matters is perception. What matters is rural India. What matters is farmers. What matters is middle class.
So
what matters is the mood that you can create, the emotion you can create. It's not about logic. It's not about numbers.
Industry naturally will be skeptical. It is an election year. Dinesh Vashni here. It's a please all budget. If all sections are being pleased, sir, are you as an opposition voice worried today?
Not a single has been pleased. I'll tell you how. The maximum exemption out of 5 lakh income ceiling act will be 13,500. And what is the cost of living has increased in the city area and our suburban area and sub-suburban area? You know it. Even the government of India itself have increased metro fare hike in this year. So that has also taken away. And you know, anybody who has a 5 lakh single income in the family will never be able to save 1,50,000 rupees. Reason being, he goes for minimum deduction out for PF or whatever, or EPF, whatever it is. They will not go. Second thing is about 6,000 rupees farmers. Given to farmers. First of all, it will be in financial, it will be only 2,000 rupees. Rest will be given by the next government, whichever the government comes. This 6,000 rupees, the Modi government is giving because it has been increased on the fertilizer cost. It has been increased on the electricity cost. It has been increased on the seed cost. The fertilizer bag was 50 kg. Now it is 45 kg. And cost has gone from 289 rupees to 600.
So it's too late, relief too late is what you're saying.
Yes, and similarly education sector. You see, everywhere it is a catch in their budget.
Okay.
It is a election. Education budget, UGC budget was cut down to half.
Okay, point taken. Let's get in more voices. More viewers are joining us. Arun Jain calling in from Delhi. Arun Jain, go ahead. Arun, what's your view? Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you that the finance minister has not provided anything for the job seekers and unemployed youth. And secondly, what has he done for the senior citizen?
Okay, so you're also raising that senior citizen point and unemployment. Suresh, now joining us from Bangalore. Suresh, go ahead.
I have a question on the pension scheme which you have given for the unorganized sector. The name itself suggests actually is an unorganized sector. So how are it to be organized? Number one. Number two, under EPS 95, you should also increase the pension to 40,000 rupees for all employees who have retired. So it should not be available only for the unorganized sector. So these are the two questions. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Suresh, with that from Bengaluru. I have to take a very quick break at that point. We're back on the other side. We'll keep taking your calls, so continue to call us. We are taking your view as well on the budget of 2019, giving our viewers a chance to have their say on this big story. We'll also get you more voices joining us on the panel. Don't go anywhere.
There's a new day coming, a day when our lives become sustainable and dynamic. At Toshiba, we're driven by passion to create energy, to build social infrastructure, to make intelligent electronic devices and storage, and to create digital solutions, so we can all enjoy this new day sooner. Toshiba, for a new day.
Upon whom every Indian relies, whose every action manifests a desire to make the country proud. She relies only on BSNL broadband, because that is the country's best broadband. Be it village or city, super fast internet speed. BSNL, reliable broadband.
BSNL broadband. Like me, you should get connected with BSNL broadband.
Each wave brings a new challenge, but not strong enough to throw us off balance. There are days we guide our fishermen, and days we guard our countrymen. Days we float above the sea, and other days we fly over it. If you like to take on challenges, then you'll love what we have in store for you. Join the Indian Coast Guard. Face a different challenge every day. Made speed the art. As distances vanished, it brought a smile to the face. Strong resolve helped overcome every obstacle. Speed attacked every challenge. The entire world was within my grasp when I found BSNL in the garb of my loved one's affection.
BSNL super fast fiber broadband. Like me, you should get connected with BSNL fiber broadband.
मैं लक्ष्मी बाई प्रतिज्ञा करती हूँ, जब तक मेरे शरीर में रक्त है, मैं पूर्ण निष्ठा से झांसी की सेवा करूँ।
I am proud to play for my country, but do it requires training, hard work, separation from family. But there is someone who gives me the courage to fight, brings my loved ones close to me. Always with me, my family and my BSNL unbreakable network. I have chosen BSNL network, so should you.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're watching NewsX's continuous coverage of Budget 2019, the last budget in an election year for the Narendra Modi government. Has it given the public all they want to sway the votes towards the BJP, or will criticism end up in the government not meeting the expectations of the public? Remember, all this, of course, becomes increasingly crucial election year at a time when elections are around the corner. Let me quickly reintroduce our panel, which is joining us live this evening. We have Pramod Bhasin, founder Genpact, live with us. Founder of Chairman of Business World, Anurag Batra, also live in our studios with us. SK Datta, political analyst, also joins us live. Dinesh Vashne, CPI spokesperson, with us live. We'll also be joined shortly by Sudesh Verma, spokesperson, and Vinayak Dalmia, spokesperson of the Congress. Sumit Peer, digital tech expert, joining us live, and Ravi Jain, partner tax and regulatory of PricewaterhouseCoopers. Also live with us, a tax analyst, tax expert, of course, who will also answer some of your questions, considering that we are getting a lot of calls, particularly on the relief been given to the middle class in this budget. Remember, our phone lines are still open. You can continue to call in. Our numbers are flashing there on your screen. SK Datta, quick counter to what Dinesh Vashne was saying. Dinesh Vashne is saying it's a please none budget and it's not going to sway the voters. He also says it's too little too late. Another point that the Congress was raising is that why couldn't all of this be announced in previous budgets? Why wait till election year?
Well, the relationship of the opposition with the government is like that of a stepmother with a stepson. So stepmother will never be happy with the stepson, you know, no matter if the stepson performs positively or negatively. It's always going to be a harmonious relationship, and I appreciate that, because in healthy democracy, that is how it should be, you know. Like, having said that, Congress is talking as to why everything at the last moment. I want to ask in the Congress party, if someone is there from the Congress party,
Just get them into answer.
Any of the representative, like, I mean, do you expect the incumbent government and the party which is in power to go to the election 20 tumblers? You know, like, I mean, if there are no goodies in it, I mean, then it's not an election year. When you power, just remember in 2009 and 2014, just before the elections, what were the kind of sops which you had given? Have you forgotten the loan waiver of 75,000 crores which you had given to the farmers in 2009 to win over the election in 2009? You know, you do it, it is justified. Someone else does it, then it's all howl and crying and nothing else, you know. I mean, before you counter
It was only natural to expect this, Mr.
No, it was expected that the government will try in haste to do some type of soap, but unfortunately those soaps proved to be too little. And जैसे कहते हैं ना, वेस्टर्न यूपी में एक कहावत है, ऊंट के मुंह में जूरा है, ये ऊंट के मुंह में जीरे से भी कम है.
Okay, so it's not enough. Let's get an view.
No.
Motive point.
My question out here is, like, you were outside supporter in the UPA government. Why didn't you bring the unorganized sector into the organized sector? Why didn't you get the laborers, you know, with a pension scheme? Why didn't you give them gratuity? Why didn't you give them the health insurance cover? Why didn't you do all? You had 66 MPs.
Okay,
that time in UPA1, you were supporting the government.
Will you please listen now? In UPA1, no labor law reform against the laborers were allowed. It was stalled. No public sector unit was allowed to be sold, and it was stalled. And you know this thing that the highest in the labor rate has happened in the UPA1 for first 3 years. Kindly go and check your data.
Okay, Mr. Batra.
That will help you
and then I'll get in Ravi.
I think what will matter is, while we can go into the detailing of what has been offered in the budget for various sections, and it's important, and we are doing it on your channel and in our platforms, but the fact is there is a movie on Margaret Thatcher's life. It's called The Iron Lady. Meryl Streep won an Oscar for it. There's a famous dialogue in that movie, and it is based on real life, when Margaret Thatcher is going for re-election, and she brings out a certain kind of correction in the way the unions are structured. The cabinet colleagues try to tell her that she's going wrong, and she says one thing: the problem with the voters is they don't think and vote, they feel and vote. So it's an emotive budget. The headline is 2.5 lakh increase for middle class. The farmers get 6,000 annually. So these are the kind of headlines, and these are correct headlines.
I will get in Ravi Jain on that at that point, but quickly let me also get in a viewer. We have opened it out to our viewers as well. Bharat calling in from Bengaluru. Bharat, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for giving the opportunity. The first thing I would like to say is we are very much happy with the way the budget is for this year. The reason is for the farmers and for the military, which is very important to the India nowadays.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Bharat, joining us there from Bengaluru. Ravi Jain, you know, come in here on how much of help break it down for us, since you are, of course, a partner at PwC, a tax expert in your. What is the actual relief and rebate that the middle class is getting? Just help break it down for us through the announcements today.
So the announcement, of course, as it initially came, it looked like as if the slabs have been changed. So everybody who earns up to 5 lakh gets an exemption, but that's not the finance minister used the word rebate, and there is a specific section for rebate which earlier was also there for income up to 3.5 lakh, which has been extended to now 5 lakh. So if I have to summarize, if your net taxable income after all exemptions and deductions is up to 5 lakh, is not 5 lakh, then you qualify for that rebate and then you do not pay any tax. But after claiming all the exemptions under ATC or even the enhanced standard deduction or your ATD exemption, it becomes say 5,10,000. Then you go back to the old slab system, and then the tax rates will be calculated accordingly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So how it is benefiting? Now, middle class is a whole lot, a bigger range of people are covered there. So of course this is targeted at maybe pensioners or new entrants in the job, or those who are at the level of say making an income of around 8 lakhs, because for the economically poor section also the 10% reservation which we are talking about an income. So out of 8 lakh, if you are getting a 1.5 lakh exemption under ATC by investment, 50,000 another by putting it in NPS, and another 50,000 by way of say standard deduction, then more or less you are there. Right?
And standard deduction has been raised.
Just one correction. You see 5 lakh ceiling. The lower divisional clerk salary, a newly appointed lower divisional clerk salary is 5,50,000 rupees a year. So he will be out of that purview.
You get a 50,000
even then, this is the new entrant. This is the new entrant.
If you have investments, I think the cut off is 6.5.
This income group in single salary will not go for investment of even 1 lakh. He goes for
you are in the opposition, you will look at it as
you will always look at it with the opposition.
Baba, this is pure mathematics. It is not a matter of opposition. This is mathematics. I am saying as per the government salary. I am not saying as per the private salary.
You see what Mr. Jan said, adding on to that. Why do we look at like that with the finance minister? Point number 1 was very clear. You can check the audio. He said taxable salary. He made it very clear, right, Dada? He said it's taxable salary. If you look at a salaried person, somewhere 9-10 lakh rupees, right? You have this 5 lakh, no, you have 1.5 lakhs under ATC. Then you have 2 lakhs of interest subsidy if you have a house. Because what do we want? We want every household to have a house. Somewhere down the line they have to have a house. So they get. Then the salaries are structured under HRA and other things which make them more flexible. Nobody gets a basic salary of 5 lakhs if your income is 5 lakhs. Then you add medical insurance or medical insurance exemption. So if you add everything up, it is 5.4, then standard deduction of 50 lakhs. It comes to around 9.25 lakhs.
So why I have ignored, sorry, I'll just come in between, and why I have ignored that 2 lakh interest, because do you assume somebody earning about 8 lakh to have a house and paying interest of 2 lakh? May not be practical.
It may not be practical.
That's why 2 lakh I have not considered.
Absolutely agreed, sir. Absolutely agreed.
Pramod Bhasin, if I can quickly draw you back in here, you were questioning earlier whether the middle class at this point needs SOPs, whether this was needed, which could tilt the fiscal deficit further, at a crucial time for our economy. But at the end of the day, sir, the counter argument is that the middle class is the one who is often ignored in budgets because they aren't the core vote bank of political parties. Also, they're the ones who bore the brunt of demonetization and the GST implementation. So perhaps this could be seen as a reward for them.
Yes, it could be. I think, you're right. Very often the middle class bear the brunt of, certainly, I'm not sure they bore the brunt of demonetization. A lot of small, very small businesses, a lot of people below middle class would have also felt it. But my point was only that, one, let's think about the fiscal deficit. How much can we do? How much of a fiscal deficit do we keep producing? And two, what should we do? Business and small businesses are the ones who got hurt by demonetization the most. GST also, which is a welcome reform, by the way, I've always welcomed GST, also has hurt them badly because implementation is complicated and difficult. I think it's a massive project, so I'm not being too critical about that. But cause them trouble. So what can we give business as a SOP? What can we do for business from a tax perspective rather than individuals? And that's where my disagreement really is, that if you want to do this, let's at least do it in areas which help create more investment and more jobs. Right now, the middle class has got more money in their pockets, which I'm sure they will love. It will increase consumption, which is why the stock market is starting to boom and saying, oh good, everybody will have more money to spend and perhaps more money to invest. All of that is nice, but on what foundation are we building this? That's really my question.
Yeah, bring in another viewer now. Daljit Singh joining us from Chandigarh on the broadcast. Daljit, go ahead.
Sir, I am a middle class person, I just have a quick question for the experts. So if my income is 7 lakh rupees, if my salary is 7 lakh rupees per annum, does that mean that I get taxed only on the 2 lakh rupees? My taxable income will be 2 lakh rupees or just 5?
The moment it is 5 lakh, 1 rupee.
I think Ravi Jain can take that. Yeah.
So if your salary is 7 lakh and if you are talking about this is after all exemptions and deductions, and when I say that maybe you are contributing to PF and you have also accounted for that PF contribution is eligible for and you are contributing to say any other deposits which are eligible, or you are paying tuition fee for your children, etc. Or is it gross 7 lakh? So if it is gross 7 lakh, then from this 7 lakh you will be eligible for all the deductions which are available, even the 10,000 deduction for your interest on savings account, and after net taxable income after all exemptions is still above 5 lakh, then you will be taxable under the old whatever slab and rate are applicable. But if it reaches 5 lakh or below, then you don't have to pay any tax.
Okay. Sudesh Verma, BJP spokesperson, also joining us live at this point on the broadcast. Sudesh Verma, Dinesh Vashni of the CPI, who's on the panel today, says all this has come too late. You shouldn't have waited until an election year. You should have declared this earlier if you were so serious about rewarding the sectors which you have today. How do you respond to that? And also, Sudeshji, which aspects of the union budget presented today do you believe could potentially be game changers in an election year?
You see, the budget's aim today has been to give a sort of social security to the poor people and relief to the middle class. In the middle class also, you can make a distinction between those earning more money and those earning less. So those earning less, say up to 5 lakh rupees, or if they can bring their, through various process of deductions, to taxable income of 5 lakh, then they don't have to pay any tax. And I remember the expert in your panel, Dr. Subra Kamal Datta, was telling yesterday on some channel that yes, up to 5 lakh rupees, We never thought that it could actually become 5 lakh rupees, because it always went incremental, 2.5, then 3, 3.5. Government had this option. But such a big relief given to the middle class, we are sure that this is going to be liked by the middle class, which was really under a lot of pressure. And if you see in the context of food prices under control, 4.6% inflation, unlike the UP era where it used to be 10.2, then you can see they have a lot of money to spare, to invest. They can dream and they can fulfill their dream as well.
Okay.
Critics will always say that why
Mr. Vashni, how do you respond to that? The big game changer in this budget has been the relief to middle class, says Sudesh Verma. This is something that Dr. S.K. Datta was predicting. He's credited you, Mr. Verma. I don't know if you heard him, S.K. Datta. But Mr. Vashni, at the end of the day, the government giving this relief in terms of a tax rebate today, also allowing them to dream of investments through the savings that now they will get later this financial year, in the next financial year rather, and also the point that Mr. Verma is making about inflation being controlled that Piyush Goyal also referred to. So he said that obviously makes cost of living more affordable than it was, in your UPA era.
Absolutely bunkum. The rents in Delhi housing have increased 16 to 17% minimum in the suburban areas or the outer Delhi areas. In the city area, it varies from 30 to 70%. Absolutely bunkum. The second thing is, this total benefit will be 13,500 for income. Rest other, if we go for, I already told you, anybody.
But he's saying the middle class was always ignored. At least the BJP government has taken note of that.
No, earlier it was also given little, but middle class has been taxed the highest, and they are the highest payers. See the tax collection, direct tax collection from the middle class.
Sudesh, why have you increased taxes in Kerala? The Kerala government has passed the budget 3 days back, and there has been so many new cess which has been introduced.
Dr. Datta, the lowest tax on petrol, the lowest tax on electricity, the highest education budget of Kerala in India.
Please answer me that.
Okay, gentlemen, pause.
No, you're shouting.
Okay. Please, let's reduce our voices. Let's reduce our voices. It's a budget. It's a budget that has seen every society touched. You can have your disagreements. Okay, I have to take a very quick break. My panelists are not listening. I have to take a break. Back in 2 minutes. Taking a break.
फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, कुछ अपनों की सुन, कुछ अपनी सुना, स्माइल को अपनी पहचान बना, BSNL संग मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा, फोन मिला और मुस्कुरा।
60,000 से भी ज्यादा लोग अपने बिग मूव का जश्न मना रहे हैं। आप भी शामिल हो। Honda Amaze, the big move।
नहीं, मेरा डेटा प्लान खत्म।
GPS बंद हो गया, लगता है नेटवर्क गया।
मेरा भी नेटवर्क गायब
टीना।
है। इसका तो फोन ही डब्बा है।
अब
कहीं चलकर रास्ता पूछ लेते हैं।
मतलब मारता है
भाई साहब,
मेरे प्रीतो का फोन है। हाँ, टाइम ना ला जावांगा, है ना?
भाई वाह, आपके फोन में कौन सा नेटवर्क है?
BSNL और
BSNL दे क्रिस्टल क्लियर वॉइस हाई स्पीड डेटा। BSNL पूर्ण स्वदेशी नेटवर्क।
ये है हेलोनिक्स, इंडिया का सबसे हेटेड बल्ब।
ये राहुल को नहीं, ईशा को पसंद नहीं, सोनू बंटी बबली को नहीं, जॉनी को सलोनी को नहीं, हमको बिजली गई इस बल्ब को देखो फर्क पड़ा ही नहीं।
सही
नहीं, यानी पढ़ाई में आया नो ब्रेक, लाइट बिना ब्रेक चलती गई।
है हेलोनिक्स इन्वर्टर बल्ब, जो लाइट जाने के बाद भी चलता रहे। फ्यूचर इज दिस हेलोनिक्स, अपॉन whom every Indian relies. Action manifests a desire to make the country proud. She relies only on BSNL broadband, because that is the country's best broadband. Be it village or city, super fast internet speed. BSNL, reliable broadband.
BSNL, unbeatable broadband. Like me, you should get connected with BSNL broadband.
Welcome back from the break. You're watching NewsX. Remember, it is an election year budget, and that's why the debate did get very political before we took the break. But Mr. Verma, coming back across to you, you had a point to make before, of course, we got caught in a shouting match. Yeah, Mr. Verma. Okay, I think we've lost Mr. Verma there. But, you know, Ravi Jain, coming back, of course, to the middle class argument. At the end of the day, the BJP said at least it's some relief for them. The middle class was often ignored by every budget because they're not a big vote bank. The opposition says it's too little, too less. The exemption should have been higher. At the end of the day, at least it's something. And then enable the middle class to spur this savings into further investments, which could stimulate sectors, Ravi.
Yeah, so if you look at the whole exemption which we were talking about, this 5 lakh issue, so suppose if somebody is on a borderline, then in fact that person would like to avail this 5 lakh exemption by putting an extra investment. There are a lot of investment avenues, so you can actually plan. So that's one. And then second, if you look at the other income strata, the other middle class, which I was talking about, but we have a whole big range of middle class, where you have, say, suppose 2 houses, self-occupied houses in 2 different cities, maybe because of personal reasons. Right. Your parents are staying in one house, you are staying because in other city because you are working. And in the erstwhile, like until now, if you have self-occupied houses, then one house you were paying rent on a nominal basis at a market rate. Now that has been taken away. So to some different, separate, little higher middle class, I would say, who will not be eligible for this 5 lakh rebate, might get an exemption.
We have to also ask you that question which Mr. Pramod Bhasin was also raising earlier. How fiscally prudent will these decisions be?
So fiscal prudence, I think, is all has to be seen because
election
revenue projects. Uday, I like to take that. If you see what Piyush Goyal ji said in the budget today, He said, look, we are maintaining a physical deficit of 3.4%. We would have been on 3.3 if we would have not included 25,000 crore of farmer subsidy this year and 75,000 next year. All the things what he has proposed and done, he said next year the physical deficit will be less than 3.3%. So the question of physical deficit is being addressed. The numbers
So
are
the
out.
question of fiscal deficit has been addressed. I could see you smiling. Mr. Bhasin, you can come in there.
We don't see how it's being addressed. I mean, he's saying it's being addressed. I haven't seen it being addressed. I think GST revenues are below where we expected them to be. I wish they were higher because I think GST is a great reform. I don't understand the mathematics. I don't understand the arithmetic. I would say one other thing. I would say one other thing, please, in terms of the deficit and tax collection and all of the other things that go with it, is that when we think about these tax proposals that have been made, they're not going to make a huge impact. We must remember that. This is more headlines. This is more headline news. But actually, to the middle class also, the amount of money involved is not huge. For farmers, the amount of money involved is not huge. So I fear that it's really done election year. And I think every party that is representative here would have done something.
But certainly led to positive headlines then, of course, for the government. And that's to be expected.
Therefore, I don't think it swings the
in
tide.
relation to the tax collection through GST, the finance minister was very. He said that in the mid of last year, it was somewhere around 85,000 crores. Right. November, it has come to above 90, somewhere around 94,000 crores. And January, it's expected to be around 1,07,000 crores. Yeah. So definitely
that
there is
a robustness.
Yes,
okay.
there is a quantum increase in that. And just 10 seconds more, please. I am also very, very pleased about the roadmap which this budget has spoken about, the 10 points which this budget has said 10 years down the line.
Okay.
Yesterday,
so it's futuristic. Yes. One sec. Anurag Batra, a quick point from you on, the three criticisms that Piyush Goyal obviously addressed today. One criticism was that the government is doing nothing for the unorganized sector. The Pakora Wala debates, the Pakoranomics debate had broken out at one point. Today, the Pakora Walas have been brought into this pension scheme along with other workers in the unorganized sector. Secondly, the middle class, which bore the brunt of demonetization, GST, they have been given a reward. Whether the reward is, at least it's a reward. And the third point is the agricultural sector. The opposition cried horse that the Kisan are upset with the government concentrating on Jai Jawan. Where's Jai Kisan gone? Well, today they got direct money in their account.
Uday, I said to you right at the start that the attempt of the government and the interim finance minister who presented the budget has been to counter what the opposition has been saying about its insensitivity to various segments of society. So I think that was the biggest. Now, we in the media, people at large were looking at a lot more from the budget. Let me tell you that. Right? That has. So you can either laud the government depending on which side of the political spectrum you are, or you can criticize the government.
Absolutely.
Third point I'm saying, I think we should do this debate in 3, 4, 5 days a week.
Okay.
By that time, the initial euphoria about whatever little has been offered to every sector will settle down. There'll be more granular thinking, and you can get a mood of the society and the sector. But I think the finance minister very cleverly presented the budget.
So it's good headlines.
He switched between English and Hindi.
It's good headlines for today. It's good headlines for today, and obviously he was catering to the electorate. It was
and we in the media were looking for good headlines.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, we could have got, we got all sorts of headlines, but these are the three ones which stood out, which were. Prashant, now our next viewer joining us from Karnataka. Prashant, go ahead. Prashant? All right, I think we've lost Prashant there, but we have Abhimanyu also joining us from Uttar Pradesh. Abhimanyu, go ahead. Abhimanyu, if you can hear me, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, Uday.
Go ahead, what's your view?
My view is that the budget has there are a few good points for the middle class in the budget, but I would like to remind all your panelists on the television that India is based on the farmers. Our economy, the farmers are the spine of this economy. And the Modi government has given a lollipop to suck on for 1 year, and by giving them an annual income of whatever 6,000 rupees, you know. They are just trying to just take their votes and present them with a very rosy picture, which is not done. And I would like to point out to the BJP panelists who's sitting there, these people are just...
So it's too little, too late is what you're saying for the agriculture sector. Thank you for calling in there from Uttar Pradesh, Abhimanyu. Venugopal joining us from Hyderabad. Go ahead, Venugopal.
I have been listening to your panel discussion. One point which is being missed is a lot of the middle income group, they work as the couple works, the husband and wife works. When both of them work, one of the panelists said you can't afford to pay 2 lakhs for housing loan and things like that. Combine the income of both the people, and a good number of them will be able to deduct this sort of deduction.
Okay.
So when the wife...
So that's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. Okay, last quick word from SK Datta and Sudesh Verma on the farmers' argument. Do you believe this will get you the farmers' votes, the Kisan and SK Datta?
See, this is the beginning of the endeavor to do something good for the farming class and for the farmers of our country who have been deprived so far. Lot more
Sudesh Verma, and in a way you cut the argument of Rahul Gandhi. You also wanted a minimum income for the poor. You've at least given it for the farmers. Enough to get you the votes.
Uday, if you see the focus of our budget of the last year, at 14,34,000 crore was allocated for rural infrastructure, and that was a massive push to the rural. We are aware of the link between agriculture and economy, and this time a minimum guarantee has been given to 12 crore small and marginal farmer owning 2 hectares of land. It's a big development, very big development in this country. When you talk of unorganized sector.
Okay, fair enough. Just quickly, I have to end.
Today the finance minister, in relation to the roadmap 10 years down the line, he has spoken about ideal villages and ideal towns which are self-reliant. Yesterday during the show, if you remember, when I was doing it with Gauri, I had spoken about smart villages and smart towns. That is exactly in that line.
Okay, so Mr. Stars, your points have been incorporated by Piyush Goyal. Maybe Piyush Goyal was watching NewsX yesterday evening and he heard you, as Sudesh Verma said. He also, you also spoke about that 5 lakh exemption.
I also said that and there is a promise to increase the minimum support price also. So it's not just a lollipop.
So the MSP argument is crucial for farmers, is what you're saying. That's a core issue. Okay, I have to take a very quick break. Our big coverage on Budget 2019 continues after the break. Our panelists stay with us. We'll also have big newsmakers from the government and opposition joining us through the anywhere.
ये है हेलोनिक्स, इंडिया का सबसे हेटेड बल्ब।
ये राहुल को पसंद नहीं, ईशा को पसंद नहीं, सोनू बंटी बबली को नहीं, जानी को सलोनी को नहीं। जब शाम को बिजली गई, इस बल्ब को देखो फर्क पड़ा ही नहीं।
सही
नहीं, यानी पढ़ाई में आया नो ब्रेक, लाइट बिना ब्रेक चलती गई।
पेश है हेलोनिक्स इन्वर्टर बल्ब, जो लाइट जाने के बाद भी चलता रहे। फ्यूचर इज दिस हेलोनिक्स। Made speed the identity. As distance vanished, it brought a smile to the face. Strong resolve helped overcome every obstacle. With speed, attacked every challenge. The entire world was within my grasp when I found BSNL in the garb of my loved one's affection.
BSNL super fast fiber broadband. Like me, you should get connected with BSNL fiber broadband.
Each wave brings a new challenge, but not strong enough